Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I guess you can call it a podcast. Today we are doing a little recap of Married to Medicine. So it begins where it left off, which is with the girls arguing on the RV. So we got Lisa Nicole standing over Heavenly like, girl, what you gonna do? And they're trying to break them up. So Lisa Nicole's like, she just yells out, that's why you got a 3-point rating review online. And they don't show what Dr. Heavenly says, but they show Quad in the confessional. And she's like, girl, she got a 3.9. She said, and actually, this thing has 4 stars, so I don't know why it's not a 4 stars. And then she goes, ding, and shows her pearly whites. So I'm assuming Dr. Heavenly works on her teeth. But that was funny. So then Latoya says, Simone, how many stars you get? And she's just laughing. And I'm like, Latoya, how many stars you get on what exactly? Anyway, so they're still riding. Simone takes Lisa Nicole to the back. They're riding, and they basically had nothing to talk about, nothing to do, because they were on this bus for, what was it, like 9 hours or so? And Crypt Keeper's like, oh, I've been on this bus too long. Dr. Heavenly says, the whole argument is my fault. Everything is my fault. She says, oh, and it's your fault too, Jackie, because you let it happen. And I'm like, she's so stupid. Because, of course, we know that was a dig at Latoya, because Toya always talking about how Dr. Jackie doesn't control Heavenly. So as they're sitting there with nothing to do, Quad just very casually looks over at Simone and says, you need to wash that wig, Simone. It's oily. And I'm like, what is wrong with Quad? What is wrong with Quad? So they talk about getting gas and everything. Lisa Nicole's like, I supplied the RV, so I shouldn't have to get gas. I don't know if they had some sort of, I don't know what sort of arrangement she had with this man that was driving, but he didn't even move to go get gas. He didn't even move to go pump it. Like, dude, there's no way, unless they just did it for storyline's sake, like have something to talk about. So Dr. Jackie gets off and she goes to pump the gas, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, Dr. Jackie ain't going back and forth with people about money, because Dr. Contessa was like, okay, I got it. They're going back and forth with who got it, because she said, Lisa Nicole, Quad said she got it, the gas bill, and Quad said, you a goddamn lie. No, I didn't. So Dr. Jackie, no arguing. She just got off and was like, let me go pump this gas while y'all on here doing all this talking. So she couldn't find the gas tank. Toya looking out the window. Yeah, Jackie act like she ain't never pumped no gas before. She can't even find a gas tank. I'm like, Toya, shut the hell up. Just shut the hell up forever. Even her jokes irritate me. She's just irritating. So finally, she finds the gas tank. She's pumping the gas. Quad comes out in her fluffy her fluffy house shoes, and she's like, girl, I'm going to get some No, first, Dr. Jackie says, oh, you coming to help? Quad, I don't do this kind of work. I'm not working. So she's like, I'm going to get some chips. Do you want anything? Dr. Jackie's like, oh, yeah, you know what? I would like something, spicy and a little cheesy. And they come in Doritos. And Quad says, girl, you want some Flaming Hots? You want some Flaming Hots? And she said, yeah, yes. And oh my God, when I tell y'all, I died, because Dr. Jackie really was, as my mom would say, hemming and hawing, trying not to say Flaming Hots. Quad is like, I knew this girl was ghetto. I knew she was one of us. You just got to bring it out of her. She did all that going around in circles to say she wants some Flaming Hots. And you guys, fun fact, I have never in life tasted a Flaming Hot. Only because I don't like spicy stuff. So not because I think I'm too good or anything. My baby swears by them, so I guess they're good. So anyway, the girls make it to the hotel. They're all pooped, like they're tired as heck. Simone gives them their keys. They all have their own room. It just looks like a regular hotel room. Nothing great. So the next morning, they're showing everybody as they're waking up, and Dr. Simone is on the phone with Cecil, and he's like, y'all up already? It's only 11:30. Just got in at 4. And she's like, yeah, I can't get no 8 hours here. Let her put me into the afternoon. Like, he want her to sleep her vacation away. Quad and who was with Quad? Contessa calls Anila. She's on her way. So that's cool. It's so funny that Quad and Anila are really cool. So funny, because she's actually Quad posted a picture of her and Anila on Instagram. Very cute, but it's funny that they're like really super cool now. So then we get to the room with Dr. Jackie and Dr. Heavenly. Dr. Heavenly dumps out her purse, and Jackie gets up like, "What are you doing? What's all this stuff here?" She got nothing but like Werther's original candy. And she's like, "Yeah, Alora says this is old lady candy." And Dr. Jackie's like, "Yeah, it is." And then Dr. Heavenly's like, "Well, I'm a dentist and I get my teeth cleaned every week so I can eat it." And she's like, "So if you're gonna eat candy, just make sure you brush and you floss." And she said, "The more you know." Oh my God, cracked me up the fact that they did the more you know thing, doom 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 doom, with the star and the rainbow. Hilarious. So Dr. Jackie tells Heavenly that she had a conversation with Toya, and Toya expressed how disappointed. And as soon as she said disappointed, Dr. Heavenly said, the funniest laugh in the world. I just love Dr. Heavenly. Did I say that? But so she's saying, Toya is very disappointed in how Dr. Heavenly kind of deals with her and kind of puts her down. And Dr. Heavenly says, so she's allowed to say whatever she wants to people, and we're not allowed to really respond. Then she gets hurt, right? And Dr. Jackie, there's no denying it. She's like, yeah, that's true. And that's kind of how they ended that scene. Then we get to Lisa Nicole and Crypt Keeper and yada, yada, yada. They shouldn't even be here. Not even enough to really talk about. Boo. So they show Toya out sunbathing, and she's calling Eugene, and she's telling him how she just wants to have a good time. She's not there to argue. She just wants to have fun. And he's like, yeah, well, keep that mindset. Don't let anyone take you out of that mindset and bring you into their negativity. And I'm like, really? Bring her into their negativity? You talking to the most negative person on the trip. And okay, anyway, Dr. Eugene, I guess, right for your girl. So Dr. Heavenly comes, they sit down, she sits down, and before she sits down, they're with the whole, oh my God, you look so cute. Oh, I love those eyelashes. Oh, I love those shoes. I love that. And I'm like, can we just get to it? Because all of these, and it's just too much. We know y'all not really feeling each other, so save all that. So then they get to talking, and Toya brings up how she's hurt by the fact that they came there and they really looked up to Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon. And then once she brought up her finances, and Heavenly's like, yes, you did. You brought it up. And she's like, yeah, but then you took over saying nothing but negative comments about it or whatever. And Dr. Heavenly says, you know what? Yeah, I do. Maybe sometimes, I talk too much. I go too far. And they just kind of talk it out and say that going forward, they're going to communicate better, and pretty much left it at that. And then Toya's like, we have more bad times arguing than we do good times. And I'm like, it's all because of you and your negative Nelly self. So what are you talking about? But they decide that they're going to, be okay with each other and talk about things going forward. So cool. Now we cut to Dr. Contessa coming in the room with Dr. Jackie and Quad, and they both have on Quad has on this cute little outfit. Got the long jacket to go with it. It's some slacks though, a little crop shirt. Dr. Jackie has on a long sundress, but they both have on hats. And Dr. Contessa walks in her yellow tight, super cute. Dr. Contessa's body is super cute. I have to give it to her. But she walks in and she's like, I didn't know it was hat day. Didn't nobody tell me. I'm super casual. And they're like, no, you're fine. And then they're asking Quad, where you going? Like, she's super fancy. She got on heels. She got on her purse. And Dr. Jackie's like, where you going walking on the beach with a purse? And she's like, who knows? They could be selling something. So they get to talking about what happened on the bus. They go for a walk, talking about what happened on the bus. And then Dr. Contessa's like, yeah, I feel like I need to tell y'all something that happened to me. And she's telling them how her husband said he has a life coach that he reached out to from the internet. And Quad is like just looking like she's waiting to hear the rest of this story. So I knew it wasn't going to be good. Dr. Contessa constantly overshares to me. I mean, I guess this is what you do with good girlfriends. You tell what's going on and you guys have these kind of talks or whatever. But I don't know, it just seems like she's looking for any and everyone who will listen to talk about her issues with her husband. So when Contessa finally tells them about what's going on with the lady for 7 months, Quad's like, so your husband has been talking to a lady for 7 months and you didn't know anything about it? She's like, yeah. So they sit down and she's saying she doesn't, she's not sure what she needs to do. She doesn't want to get a divorce because Dr. Jackie's like, well, do you want to get a divorce? She's like, no, I don't. But I don't know what else to do at this point. And Quad is like, well, you can't be unhappy forever. And Dr. Jackie kind of slows her down like, yo, Quad. And she's like, I'm not telling her to get a divorce. I wouldn't tell her that. So Dr. Jackie's like, listen, you have to understand that you're talking to two different women that did things two different ways. We went through the same thing and we dealt with it two different ways. Quad, as we know, left her marriage. She decided, I'm good on this. Like, I'm not about to be unhappy forever. I choose me. She got out of it. Whereas Dr. Jackie chose to stay. She stayed. She fought for her husband and she's still in the marriage. And Dr. Contessa's like, well, I seem to be the third one that just kind of buries my head in the sand. And they're like, well, you can't be happy forever with your head buried in the sand. And she's like, I know. Then they ask her, well, she says, I know my kids know, that there's something going on. Because they ask if she think he's cheating. And she's like, no, I don't think he's cheating, but I kind of don't know. Let me tell y'all what I think Contessa's doing. Because like Dr. Jackie said, she's been dropping these little hints often about not knowing what he's doing. And I feel like she's trying to come off not like Dr. Jackie even said that she was blindsided. She said she missed all the red flags. And so I'm thinking that Dr. Contessa's trying to let everybody know in little bitty ways in case it comes out that I'm not stupid. I knew something was going on. I feel like she's trying to prepare people just in case something comes out. And I mean, I get what she's doing. And I really, really feel like that's what she's doing. So she ends up, crying, talking about how she wants to stay and she wants to fight, but she can't do it alone. And Quad, so sweet. Quad starts crying too because she's been in that position. And yeah, they talk about how going through a divorce is really hard. And it is. I mean, I've never been married. But I would assume, I've had some breakups, but I would assume, and listen, I only lived with one person ever. And when that broke up, it was like the best thing in life. I was not married, but I was happy as hell for that divorce. So I get it. Some people it works for, some people it doesn't. So I guess she's going to end up fighting, but I really do think she's trying to prepare people just in case Dr. Scott is cheating, because her daughter says little things like, oh, dad has a girlfriend. Not cool, Dr. Scott. Not cool. So you guys, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I don't want this review to be very long, but they end up going on these golf carts or whatever, going over to dinner, and I don't know why they're trying to act like golf carts were like speed racers or what do you call them, go-karts or whatever. Like, who doesn't know how to drive a freaking golf cart? It's not that serious. Like, oh my god, don't kill us, come on. So it was a cute scene because they had the aunties in one. You had Heavenly, Jackie, Simone, and then Anila and Quad was having a ball. I can't remember if somebody else was in with them. It may have been Contessa, I'm not sure. But regardless, they're laughing, the other two cars laughing and everything. And, Dr. Heavenly and them just like, the old lady cart. It's okay though. So they get to dinner and everything is set up very nicely, very pretty. They get to talking about, would you sleep with a woman? And I don't know what's going on with all these franchises and all this lesbian stuff. I don't have a problem with it, but it just seems to be really, really on brand this season for everything. It's crazy. So Toya, I think, says Jada Pinkett, and Simone was like, oh, Jada Pinkett's so tiny, she's so little. And Dr. Contessa, Beyonce, she says Beyonce, Sierra, Layla Rashad, and she just keeps naming people. And I'm like, oh, she definitely definitely thought about this before. And then she makes the joke, yeah, you would think I thought about this before. It could because she just literally kept naming all these women, and she gives off all that masculine energy. So I believe if she met them, they could definitely get it. That's right. That's how the question came up, because they're playing this game. Crypt Keeper came up with this game. I don't know why. Again, I don't know why she's here. I don't know why she's able to lead anything. She should just be leading herself right on off this show. But she came up with the questions, and that was one of the questions. So another one of the questions was, did Quad really kiss Toya? And apparently it happened, and they kissed or whatever. And then Toya acted like she was so grossed out by it. Somebody else asked the question, does Anila not know how to keep a budget or budget her finances? And everybody's dying laughing. Toya's like, I swear I didn't put it. I swear I didn't put it. Who else put it, Toya? Who else put it? And you just finished crying to Dr. Heavenly, talking about don't talk about your finances, but you talking about somebody else's. So, of course, they do all these flashbacks of Anila talking about not paying the hair and makeup people, etc. So the next one was, apparently Lisa, and rumor has it Nicole and Carrie stole Anila's $400 from DC. And then they cut to her looking for her $400 that I guess was in her bag. And she's like, well, I did have $400 that came up missing. And she's like, and you guys did get ready in my room. My thing is this, though. You had hair and makeup all in your room because they showed it. So how do you know it was them? So then they started making the jokes like, Lisa doesn't. Contessa said, Lisa's not going to steal $400. Didn't you see, what she's accused of? That fraud is not lowbrow, basically. Like, no, she's into stealing the real money. $400 ain't going to do nothing for her. And I really think Anila wrote that one out herself, because she really do. And then they kept saying, yeah, no, she really does. Like, that's not just a rumor. She really does think that they stole her money. So Lisa Nicole says, Anila, grow up. And I'm like, why do these people keep talking to her like she's a kid? Why on earth do everyone in this group talks to her like she's a kid? Because even before that, Quad looked at her and said, well, it's really serious to accuse people of stealing. Like she was a kid. I mean, she knows that, and she obviously don't care. She thinks they stole her money. She's like, yeah, didn't just get up and walk away. So Lisa Nicole's like, yeah, grow up. And she's like, don't even go there. Don't even. She got to come with some better comebacks or whatever, because these girls are dogging her and she's letting it happen. I don't like it. So Lisa Nicole says, I don't have time for this. And she throws up her hand at Anila. So Anila says, you know what? I really didn't want to bring this up, Lisa, but, and then they cut to Toya in the confessional saying Anila will just come up with anything trying to get her trying to get her soap opera moment. She wants to be Erica Kane so bad. So she says, I didn't want to bring this up. And Lisa's like, well, don't. You need a storyline. So she says, well, you never paid me for those stories. And Lisa Nicole's like, what stories? And she's like, the stories I did for you on Instagram. I didn't see any stories. So then they cut to where Anila showed Lisa with her lying ass the stories. So yes, you did see the stories. And she's like, well, I never received payment on that. And she's like, well, I never received an invoice. She's like, well, I didn't invoice you because I thought you would just pay me. And Quad is like, no, baby, you got to get them invoices out. And you do, sis. Why would you not send out a freaking invoice? Are you kidding me? Especially if you did it a while ago and she never paid. You're just not gonna invoice her. You're not gonna bring it up at all. You're gonna wait until dinner. Seriously? Anila says people usually ask her for the invoice once it's done. And Dr. Simone is like, let me tell you something. In business, no one's going to ask you to bill them. Are you kidding me? She's like, oh, this is how we do it. This is how bloggers do it. No, ma'am. No, ma'am, Pam. That is not how anyone does it. You don't wait for someone to ask you to be billed. What is wrong with you? So Dr. Simone's like, do you think if I didn't bill my patients, they would be like, oh, hey, where's my bill? No, they're just not going to pay. So Dr. Nicole is just like, Lisa Nicole's like, just send the invoice and we're done. Send the invoice and we're done. And she's like, okay, fine. Because Lisa Nicole is like, well, I gave you 2 dresses. And she's like, well, I usually get dresses on top of getting paid to do them. And I'm like, those dresses, number one, were not cute. Give them back. Get that shit back. And get your money. Then Lisa Nicole's like, yeah, why would I pay for something that only stays up for 24 hours as opposed to a post. She gave her the rates for both the stories and the post. They never decided which one they were doing or whatever. Like, they just did bad business all around, period. And Anila needs to get it together and get it more concise and confirmation and everything before she does that. That's number one. Number two, the pictures were not even cute. The picture she took for her, they only showed one. She said she did 4. Not cute, but whatever, not my business. So messy ass Crypt keeper then turns to Anila and she's like, yeah, Anila, did you and Toya ever get it settled? Because I guess that wasn't enough arguing for her, so she had to kick something else off. And Anila's like, yeah, but I don't want to get into it. Well, I'll talk to her separately. Lisa Nicole, oh, you pick and choose what you want to talk to in front of the girls or whatever. So Quad turns to Toya and she's like, look, Anila just felt away because she felt like you were bad mouthing her in a subdivision she hasn't even moved into yet, and you telling all these ladies bad things about her. So Toya's just like, listen, I just need a minute, okay? Like, she's telling Anila she needs a minute from the friendship or whatever. And Anila's like, hold up, you're the one who did me wrong. So why is it turned that I'm the one apologizing to you and I'm the one trying to make it better? And Toya pretty much has nothing to say because she's kind of done with Anila. She's just like, look, I've been the best kind of friend I know how to you. I brought you into my friend group and everything, and this is what you do. Basically, Toya just does not take accountability for anything. But at this point, Dr. Jackie is done. She's done. And when I tell y'all I love her because she's everyone's mom, she got up and she said, okay, let's go. Apparently they had another hour left, and Dr. Jackie said, I'm not going to sit here for an hour listen to the same argument over and over again. I'm done. So she got up, she goes to Anila, and she's like, get up, baby, let's go. You got to go. We got to go. And she goes over to Toya, let's go. Toya's like, we can't have dessert. No, baby. You can eat your dessert on the bus or whatever. Let's go. We got to go now. And in the confessional, she's just over it. She's over it. And I am too. Same argument. It's all stupid. That's where it left off, and we'll see what happens next week. I think next week is the finale, thank God. Then we have the reunion, which Dr. Heavenly promised is going to be better than the season, so can't wait to get to that, but we'll see what happens. Thank you guys that came back to the video, and we'll do it again next week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe, and it's okay to share. If you share, please share from either YouTube or Facebook, I guess you can call it a podcast Facebook page. But thank you guys for coming back, and I'll see you guys later on this week. Smooches!